Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the September 13th, 2023 Human Relations Commission meeting. I'm going to turn the floor over to our chairperson, Commissioner Jason Blavitt. Thank you, Commissioner Jason Blavitt.
Actually, before Jason jumps in, I want to first just welcome everyone as we kick off our fall Human Relations Commission series. We've been on hiatus the last 2 months, but we have a very robust agenda that will be presented. I believe it's going to come up in just a moment so that we can see what we will be discussing on today. Um, over the summer, we did have a very engaging strategic planning session, and so we are excited to provide updates and next steps as it relates. So, with that, I will turn it over to Chairperson Blavitt.
Thank you very much, and welcome again, everyone back. Again, hopefully you've enjoyed a nice summer. We've had some warm weather, and I think some cooler days are coming, and hopefully you've been able to enjoy those outside. Uh, as far as my report, much of what I was going to share, actually the executive director hit on the touch of the points, a lot of where we're going from here, and there's been a lot of work done, and I commend the executive director and Rona Brown Carter, actually Elliot, BBO's Rochelle, all for the work that they have done in really getting us, keeping us moving forward, lining us up for where we want to be going forward, not just for this year, but into the future. We've spent a lot of time, as the commissioners that are present are aware, looking at a strategic plan, looking how we can be impactful in Baltimore County and serve the residents in a way that they know how to find us, and then we can be a positive resource for them, be it either in our individual districts or at community-wide events. So then that's the extent of my report, although I do want to note on August 29th of this year, the commission did lose a vibrant member of our commission, Ruth Howard. She was a native of New York. Commissioner Howard became really an energetic force in our community for the betterment of all. She spent her time innovating, strategizing, trying to find ways to make sure that justice was afforded to everyone in our community and to meet the needs of those who may not even have known that we existed, giving them direction so they could get the help that they were seeking. We as members of the commission, me personally, and the citizens of Baltimore County, we're fortunate to have her as a part of our commission and be in her presence in the work that she moved forward. And she certainly will be missed. I'd ask at this time to please join me in a moment of silence in remembrance of Ruth B. Howard. Thank you. As we go forward, and we will be looking to again have a lot of excitement and a lot of energy behind what we're doing. So we're going to hear from the staff of the commission as far as the plans. But I first want to open it up as an opportunity for other commissioners to go ahead and share anything that's happened that you feel is important and relevant to share to the commission, or something that you have that things coming up that you would be a point of conversation or topic for us. So with that, if you are muted, feel free to unmute yourself and share that with the commissioners.
If I may.
Yes, Commissioner Jamil.
One of the future plans is the honoring some of the commissioners at an upcoming event.
We will be doing Commissioner Myrick, who has been a distinguished member of the commission for many years. We will be having an opportunity to show her some appreciation on the October meeting, October 11th, a commission meeting, which will be taking place in person.
Right. There was a request for the headshots, and I see in one of the attachments that there are 4 commissioners, and one of them is my photo, but it is incorrect that I have 19 years of service. I have only 9 years of service.
We haven't
Okay,
gotten to
thanks. So
that. Yeah.
Well, Commissioner Jamil, that's you're, because you're so wise in your words. That's why we thought it's been 19 years, not 9. I would ask that, and any commissioner, and if you would, after the commission meeting, certainly reach out to probably Ramona Brown Carter and share with her any edits that you might have for that, and we will certainly. It's a work in progress, so we will work on that.
I appreciate that very much. Appreciate
Certainly.
that very much. And I'll have a comment when we talk about the reports, area reports, then I will be talking about the number of hate incidents and that.
So please feel free to share if there's something specific now. That this is the
Yes.
opportunity.
Okay.
Time.
It seems that as usual, that some of the, not some, almost all and any incidents that take place, hate incidents, they don't show up on a report. And years ago, I was informed that unless it is reported directly to HRC, it doesn't show up in the report. When Mr. Troy Williams was there, he had also mentioned that the police record also is accessed by HRC to put it in the stats of those hate incidents or discrimination issues. Last month, Islamic Society of Baltimore received a bomb threat with the specific name of the person who in New Zealand had carried out a massacre of Muslims. His name, and he mentioned that he wants to be here at 556, which is a code word for the caliber 556. And he says, I would like to be welcomed with open arms. Police was informed, FBI was informed, and this is the third time in my last 9 years that it has occurred and did not show up on any of the reports. So my question is it all the reports that we get, are they specifically which are directly reported to HRC and not have anything to do with any police reports filed?
That actually, I can let the executive director. Are you aware of which way that we're getting that information?
So yes, so we get the report directly from the police department. Commissioner Jamil, could you just repeat the beginning of it? How were you informed of that specific incident that you just shared?
It was directly from the president of Islamic Society of Baltimore, and a general email was sent out to the community, and all programs were canceled on that day because of the threat. The details of the threat were not revealed publicly, but this is the threat that I know specific reason what that threat
Right.
was.
Right. So if the threat was not reported to the police department, then we would have no way of being able to capture that information.
It was reported.
Other than
It was reported to the police and the FBI, both of them.
Yeah, and in fact, if you don't mind me interrupting, they were there. They did come over, and everything was closed, and so it's not they were not there. So I'm surprised that you didn't, commission didn't get that information.
It sounds like from what you're sharing that somehow in the information that was sent over to the commission, that information, even though a report or something did transpire, was not included in that. That's something certainly that we can inquire to make sure that all relevant events, unfortunately, are included and should be included in what's being reported to us. So that's something we can look to see why the police would not have reported it. Perhaps it's coming in the next cycle. I'm not sure.
and when did it occur? That was going to be my next question.
Specifically, I would guess
What
it's
month?
last month.
So correct. So Bibios, can you please proceed to slide number 9? So yes, so what we provided to you all, and please zoom in to roughly 100%, is through July. So if it happened in August, it wouldn't be on what we shared with you.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't receive the August data until later this month. And so during our next setting, our next gathering, we would have that information to share. So I appreciate you flagging that, because now we know to be on the lookout to make certain that what you just shared was actually reported, and we can, of course, confirm and verify whether there is a discrepancy in the reporting process, or if in fact we are on par. So,
Well, I stand
so
corrected about this particular incident and the time period, but this is not the first time.
mhm.
Ms. Ramona and Commissioner Beloved, they remember that I had been raising that issue every other year, and none of those reports had shown up.
Well,
So
Commissioner, I think the barometer of making sure that things are being done differently. Let's see if, and you have a valid point. Let's see if the August report does include that.
thank you.
If for some reason it does not, that's certainly an excellent opportunity for us to go back and have a conversation to understand why that was not included.
Thank you very much.
Certainly.
Right, and we would be very proactive on our end, having known in advance what to expect. And so if we don't see it, then we would definitely take the necessary steps to follow up to see as to why.
I appreciate it. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
And I think what we can do also is also when we have such, we come to know about it, right? And so we can also let you know this is happening or happened, you know.
That would be
I
very helpful. Mhm.
because as a principal Sunday school, I get the information also like Brother Jamil does. So I will surely inform you if any of those comes. So you will be aware of it again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other commissioners? No, Commissioner Marshall, Commissioner Blount, who I see joined us, Mr. Bryan. Anything else that you'd like to report from your districts?
Well, not necessarily from my district, but the governor convened I'm trying to think of the formal name, the anti-bias reporting commissioner. Excuse me, Ramona represented us there. Ramona represented a different organization there, but she is one of the commissioners on that board.
Yes. So what we would like to do is to go over just some of the data that we sent to you in advance, and once it's concluded, to have Ramona give you a report out
Okay.
on that anti hate bias coalition.
Okay.
But thank you for bringing that up.
I think that if you can, if you like, let's go ahead and go into the executive staff report. And I'm not sure who's kicking it off.
Okay, thank you. And I do see Commissioner Rahman, you had your hand raised. Did you have something you wanted to share?
Yeah, I did want to share one thing. We had in August, we had a huge food fest, and it was open for everybody. There were about I can't even remember, thousands of people there.
20,000.
We had in August. The date. Oh my goodness, what's the date? My dates get all mixed up. It was in August. Brother Jamil, do you remember it? 12th?
I'm getting old.
Yeah, you're getting all okay. You're joining
Sam,
club. Yeah, it was. I think it's
I
August
need you
12th.
to close your door.
And it was a huge, absolutely huge thing happening. And I just wanted, it was open, and people from all community, different communities of every religion, they were all there. So I just want to let you know it was a huge successful. We do have, they have it every year. And so okay, I can give you the exact date. It was on it was on August 12th, 2023. So you got the date? Are you there? Can you hear? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so I just want to let you know that it was a huge thing for it was open, as I said, to every person in the community. So there were a lot of people coming to that. It was mostly halal, like you have kosher food, we have halal food, and that's what the food, it was all there. So it was kind of exciting.
Well, normally on our high holidays, we have close to 25,000 people, and every Friday we have close to 7,000 people. On this food fest, there were little over 20,000. So it was a good participation by the community at large, and we hope that we can continue to bring people together and also share the cuisines of different ethnicities. We have people from Southeast Asia, we have people from the Middle East, we have people from the Far East and the Eastern European countries. And Commissioner Nasreen can tell you better because she used to have that, and it was 18 countries or 18 ethnicities. Food was
20.
being,
Yeah, that we do every year for the Sunday school end of the year. We have an international day, and we had this year, we had last year for yeah this year we had about 28 nations
wow.
Mhm,
from the different, the other kids are coming there, right? So
mhm.
the food was so delicious, was so different, and it was exciting to see
I'm
the
so
culture.
glad. I'm so glad you
Yeah,
all
yeah,
were
yeah,
able to experience that.
yeah.
And thank you for sharing that event. As we talk about events, I think this will be a good segue for us to kind of kick off the presentation. Again, you all received this in advance, and hopefully everyone had an opportunity to review in advance. BBOs, could you please advance to page number 2? And just scroll over so that it's centered. So we want to be certain that you have on your calendars the upcoming events. So you just mentioned Commissioner Nazar and Commissioner Muhammad about the wonderful food and the cultural engagement that you were able to experience at the Food Fest. Well, this Saturday, we have the Baltimore County African American Festival that will take place here in Towson. And so hopefully everyone also has that, as I mentioned, on your calendar. Next week, Tuesday, September 19th, is the Central Maryland Hate Bias Forum, and the Saturday, September 30th, is Public Safety Day. And we would like to also please encourage you to make note that next month will be our final in-person meeting for the year, is Wednesday, October 11th. This will also be our 60th anniversary celebration. Can you go to the next slide? All of you received the draft flyer, and I do say draft because we
Yes,
sent this knowing that some of the dates may have been a little discrepancies
right.
around. And just for just background, general background of how we collect our data. So most of you, if not all, should be very familiar with the Granicus system that we utilize. And so that is our official system of record. However, we know that systems are not always foolproof. So we do encourage you, just as Chairman Blavitt asked in the beginning, to share with us any modifications that need to be made to the years of service that we have captured. What we would like to do, in addition to honoring our now emeritus Commissioner Cecilia Myrick, is to also honor those who have 20 or close to 20 years of service with the commission. And those would be none other than Commissioner Blavitt, Commissioner Muhammad, as well as Commissioner Rahman. 60 years is a lot to be excited about. 60 years is a lot to be thankful for. And so we
Yeah.
do. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Please utilize the expression feature on your WebEx if you're able to. But we do anticipate, this being an all-out event. We're inviting the county executive, we're inviting the county council members, as well as others from the community. And once you receive the finalized flyer, we encourage you to also extend it to others who your family and others who you think will be very much interested in celebrating with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So what we wanted to do is share with you some statistics based on national, state, and local trends. In August, myself and Ramona, we had the opportunity to attend the Maryland Association of Counties Summer Conference, and I facilitated a discussion around a DEI call to action. Just to give you a brief recap of that, we focused on just the overall response to affirmative action. What can we do in our respective roles to address and promote equity and inclusion in higher education and throughout the workforce? We also talked about a crisis response plan. What role do or should we have in community crisis response management? Examples include, of course, mass shootings, hate crimes, racially, gender, or other bias events. And we also discussed DEI legislation, on what legislative action, benchmarking, or support is needed or necessary to sustain DEI related work in Maryland jurisdictions. This session was attended by well over 60 DEI officials and advocates throughout the state of Maryland. And what we're working on is putting together the next steps. So not only was it a discussion, but we actually talked about action steps as it relates to crisis management, affirmative action, and legislation. So once that has been finalized, we'll definitely share that with you. But I wanted to make certain that we talked a little bit about the crisis response plan and the role that the commission would and should have. We wouldn't necessarily go into great discussion today, but we wanted to introduce it to you all so that you can begin thinking about it and have an opportunity to weigh in. So what you see before you are the national trends related to mass shootings. As you can see, since 2017, it's increased significantly. And we know that mass shootings are often a result of hate crimes. Could you please go to the next slide? And so what you see before you is the hate crime data. You may want to make it a little smaller, Bibios. The hate crime trend in Maryland. Nationally, reported hate crime incidents have increased, and the top incidents in Maryland are anti-Black or African American, anti-Jewish, anti-gay, and anti-Asian. Next slide, please. And so what this graph does, or this exhibit, is it just illustrates, it just puts a visual aid as to what the state of Maryland is experiencing. And of course, if you go to the next slide, we just finished spending some time talking about Baltimore County trends. As you can see, since January of 2022, we've increased. And you also see that there are certain seasons, if you will, or certain months where we spike. And so we can always infer, what is happening around that time that may trigger the incidents. But we overall, what this snapshot does is it shows that we're trending in the wrong direction. Well, let me say it this way. We're trending in the wrong direction, but the good news is that people are reporting it, because we can't act on something that we don't know about. And so the fact that we do know that it's happening, it is a call to action for us to take a step back and to determine the best approach for us to address these hate crimes in our community. And it also takes, just as we discussed earlier, we know that while this is an indication of increased reporting, that there may be some additional work that we need to do to make certain that when the biases occur, that it's also getting to the police department and being captured accordingly, which would in turn be reported to the commission. So going back to the Islamic hate crime that was mentioned at the beginning. So it takes all of us to make sure that this data is indeed accurate. But again, we want to make certain that you all are aware of just where we currently stand as it relates to hate crime. Next slide. And then again, this is, again, you've seen this. This just goes into the specifics of what those numbers reflect. So anti-Black or African American, again, we know that that is also the highest trend at the state level, and so we're also seeing it at the local level. And so with that, I'll pause and turn it over to Ms. Ramona Brown Carter to talk about her work with the coalition.
Thank you, Chief Peoples Brown. Good evening, everyone. Just wanted to briefly give you an update on the Maryland Hate Crimes Task Force. This particular group was an actual build out from a meeting that took place in 2016. Once there was a spike in hate crimes, and the Office of the Attorney General was just a little bit confused. Well, not confused. I want to say they were just trying to figure out what organizations were available to reach out to those who are contacting their office. So no, I don't want to use the word confused, but they were trying to figure out what organizations were available. Were there grassroots organizations? Were there county specific organizations? And so they called us all into a room in 2016. We were in representation, the Maryland Commission on Civil Rights, as well as our counterparts in the other counties, as well as some of the other organizations. And so what came out of that meeting was that the Attorney General at the time, Brian Frost, they decided that they needed a hate crimes incident number that was created. They also began to build out of this meeting a work group. What does it look like? How do we service the community? And so we got here where in 2021 we were able to gain a $800,000 grant to help us with enhancing the community as far as partnerships is concerned, and creating the hate crimes task force, building out a staff out of the Office of the Attorney General with that. Also providing law enforcement with training, also developing a crime web portal, as well as creating hate crimes forums. And that is exactly what's happening on September um, 19th. That is not the first one. The first one was conducted last year in Western Maryland. We know that they get a lot of flack. There's a lot of issues that happen in that area. They're doing the southern region of the Central Maryland partners. And then next year, they're looking to do the upper northern regions where we are connected, Baltimore City, as well as Carroll County and Harford County, and connecting counties as well. So we're looking forward to seeing what that partnership looks like. In this particular group, I am representing COVE. We are some of you are familiar with COVE, which is a coalition opposed to violence and extremism, because I am the chairperson of that particular organization. And through this organization, it didn't make sense for me to sit there and represent Baltimore County when we are a part of MARA, which is the Maryland Associations of Human Rights. So in that group, we have a representative for the Human Rights Agencies of Maryland. I'm representing COVE, and there are a number of members that are a part of this particular organization. Just to give you an idea, we have law enforcement. We have 2 members that were appointed by the governor that are members of the general public. We do have representation from the LGBTQ community. We have representation from religious groups. This is just not just Jewish representing groups, but we do have CARE at the table. We have Sikhs at the table. There are a lot of different religious groups that are at the table. Christians are at the table. We have school safety, as well as the immigrant community. So as you can see, there's a large number of people in the room. It was a great start. Commissioner Bryant, thank you for coming. We appreciate your support. We know you were wearing a dual hat on that day. As we begin to develop out what this hate crimes task force looks like, because it is now codified under HB, give me one second. I want to make sure I'm saying this correct. HB 1066. That is the law that codified this task force under Maryland law. And we look forward to giving out an annual report starting December 1st, 2024. That's the end of my report for the hate crimes task force. Again, we are not new to these kinds of forums, because we have hosts in the past. We have host hate crime summit in Baltimore County. We've done it in Dundalk, as well as Towson State University. So we look forward to working with this task force in this light, and being a beacon of showing what we've done in the past to help the future. That's it for me.
Question.
Yes.
I just want to be clear. The hate crime task force, is it dealing with strictly the hate crimes or also hate incidents?
Hate crimes and hate bias incidents, yes. It's listed as a hate crimes task force, but it is dealing with hate bias incidents as well as hate crimes.
Thank you. And the stats in the chart, when they talk about hate crimes, it includes the hate incidents that
Uh,
that increase.
as far as the chief reported,
Yes.
Savitra, do you want to?
You're talking about from the police department, the chart that's before me. Bibios, can you scroll down just a bit so we can see just the totals? So these are crimes.
Okay. All right.
These are
That's what.
crimes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there any stats or any data on hate incidents? Because hate crimes are increasing, as
Mm-hmm.
you very
So
properly mentioned.
yeah,
So,
as far as that is concerned, we know that the Maryland State Police, they issue a report. It is online. I'll try and find it so that you can go to it right away. But we report to it just like every other police district. We are amongst the top 4 police departments that report hate crimes. So Montgomery County coming in one, us, Howard County, and no, it was another Baltimore City, I believe, is the next one on the list. So there, we are amongst the 4 top ranking reporting. So although it may not, um, like the chief said, although it may look like it's not enough,
right.
we are reporting. There is a report that is happening, and we're gaining some ground on that. So we look forward to connecting the community to this group, as well as connecting them to the various organizations that help as far as victim support, as far as hate crimes, bias incidents, and hate crimes.
Well, my thinking was that if we have the stats which show that the hate crimes are increasing, then is it possible that the hate incidents are reducing, but they are getting converted into crimes? Or is
That
it
is
that both
that
are
is a
increasing simultaneously?
Yeah, that is a possibility. I know that that is a topic of discussion that will be holding on that Monday. Is Monday the 18th. It's a 2-day forum. Monday is specifically for law enforcement too. The community is invited. We did send that information out for you to attend if you wanted to be a part of it. If the seats were not sold out, I don't know if they're sold out or not,
Oh,
but they are going to be focusing on the trends as far as the law enforcement is concerned, and then the community will come in on the next day and will speak from that
thank you.
aspect.
Thank you very
Mhm.
much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I know you're a hard worker, but I just thought that put one more item on your shoulders.
Thank you, Commissioner Jamil. I appreciate that.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. One is, I have requested that I would go to Annapolis for the forum in the MECO conference, but I never heard from you guys. I was also willing. You guys were worried about the money, and that I said I'm willing to pay myself, but to be there, just to be part of the commission. And if there's any questions, which is most people don't know very much about the Muslim and especially females, I would like to be there, but I have not heard from it. So I don't know why, and I missed that part of it. Like I've been there for I've sent email. I've been there almost 25 years with the commission. But anyway, we used to do that. We were part of all these things, that activities that you guys are doing. So that gives a purpose to us, right? As a commissioner, instead of just listening to what you're doing. So I just missed that. I thought I'll ask you why I haven't heard from you guys about that.
So I will say that we two things. notifications that we send out to you all, we do put it in our best interest to make certain that you know what's happening, what events and activities you are welcome and open to join us. And so we do hope that you are receiving those notifications. In terms of what you just mentioned, let us follow up with you on that. Anything that has to do with the cost, we should maybe consider whether or not it's worth us having a line item in our budget. I know that some commissioners may be willing to pay out of pocket, but if you are going in the official capacity as a commissioner representing Baltimore County, we want to make certain that that is done so in the appropriate way. So we'll take that offline to see what needs to be done and follow up with you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional questions or feedback before we move on? All right, we will keep it moving. So the strategic planning process, I want to thank everyone again who was with us in April and again in June for helping us to really roll up our sleeves and think strategically about the strategic plan for the Human Relations Commission. It has been my vision to make certain that we have a clear roadmap that is completely aligned with the administration, as well as what you all know to be subject matter experts and representatives for each of your respective districts, and just as a community leader in general, to make certain that we are indeed inclusive and most thoughtful in how we chart our path forward. We are so very pleased to share that we have the first iteration of the summary report available. Please scroll down, I believe, to page 11, Bibios. And so those who were with us, you will recall the many questions that was facilitated by our vendor. What do you want the legacy to be of the commission? This question was posed to everyone. What does it mean to be an active commissioner? Think about the county. What would you do if you had unlimited resources? What does it mean to be an active? Oh, well, that's kind of repetitive, but how accessible are you to the community council, the county executive town halls, et cetera? And what do you want, again, what do you want the legacy of the commission to be? So the first question is a little bit more, personal. What do you want, your legacy to be? And, the last is to kind of think about just the commission in general. And so of that, scroll down to the recommendations, please. What we determined, and we heard you, we heard you all loud and clear, is that we needed to provide clarity. We need to be very direct and just to be very intentional about what the role and responsibilities are of each commissioner. So we are working on finalizing the updated roles and description of what roles and responsibilities of what a commissioner is required. We are also working on finalizing a what do we call? I'm losing the train of thought. The pledge. It's a pledge commitment, because while we are providing clarity on what the roles and responsibilities are, we want to make certain that we have your commitment as well, and what is required of you in your respective role. Another outcome was to identify for us to identify the various programs and services in the county to maximize awareness. We just kind of sort of talked about that, what Commissioner Rahman brought up as far as being active in the community, being participatory in the various community events, sessions, etc. In addition to that, we are working on a strategy, a marketing strategy to promote the commission. So not only when you go out and you're participating, will you just, be a representative, but you'll have materials with you to be able to share and promote the commission. And in addition to that, we have several other marketing strategies that we are working on. And then last but not least, increased visibility is directly related to the commissioner's active role in their community. So again, attending educational events and sponsoring community discussions, engaging with the next generation of community leaders and so forth. So this again was not a, just a Baltimore County government driven strategic plan, but this definitely has each of your voices reflected in this. I'll pause there for any questions or feedback.
I'll just jump in to mention that obviously, as the executive director pointed out, that this has been a collaborative effort, and the actual conversations and input has made a tremendous difference in knowing the impressions of current commissioners. And part of this is also being able to then go forward, set a realistic, honest, transparent expectations of commissioners, so that as we do grow the board back to the commission back to its full capacity, we have individuals that know what the expectations are. Because it's very important when you agree to step up to join a commission such as this. It's important that you know what's being asked of you. To be fair to you as commissioner, that these are the expectations, and conversely, to also set so that we do have some parameters to evaluate and judge, so that if commissioners, due to whatever reason, be it personal nature or otherwise, have caught off in other responsibilities, that have the respect to then step away and say, this is not the time or the place for me. And it doesn't mean not serving as commission, means not serving as commissioner, does not mean that you don't serve and assist the commission in the work that it does. But again, if there are other ideas, thoughts as you read through this and as you review it, please reach out and share those, because this is important, that we get a good starting point, because you can't do the work unless you're on the same page.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Savitra, I'm sorry, there's no way for me to raise my hand.
Oh, no, go ahead, John.
I just wanted to say, I think the idea of having each commissioner make a pledge to support the work of the commission is a good idea too.
I believe we do that when the commissioners come. I think they are given the oath. We all did that. It's not done anymore.
So this pledge is a so the oath is one aspect of it, but the pledge, and you'll see a copy of it in the coming weeks, is more more inclusive of other aspects. So just establishing a high priority with regards to attendance, that's not necessarily in the oath. Working respectfully, with others, that's not necessarily in the oath. So this pledge is complementary to the existing oath.
It's more of a best practice as far as how to conduct business, as opposed to the oath of administration saying that you're willing to accept the role.
Right. All right. So Bibios, you can stop sharing. Just to elaborate further as far as some of the preparation work and follow-up work that we've done post strategic plan. Oh, and let me just also say that this is just the first phase. What we just finished sharing with you, that's just the first phase of the direction that we're headed. There is a phase 2 that we're working on, which we'll talk more about at our next meeting, which will be brief because we have a 60th celebration to engage in. But just wanted to manage expectations that we're not done. We still have more work to do. Many of you will hopefully recall that in June of this year, we successfully passed Bill 32-23, which placed the Division of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion into legislation. What this legislation also did, and this is specifically in section 3-3-1102, was to limit the amount of terms that a commissioner can serve. So the amendment is that a commission, well, it's really an establishment, because before there were no bylaws or guardrails around this. So a commissioner may serve up to 2 consecutive terms, which is a total of 4 years. So after that 4 years, should a commissioner, serve back to back consecutively, that would be the extent of their renewals. Again, that is consecutive. So that doesn't mean that, another term of you not serving occurs, and then you wouldn't be able to get back in the cycle. So we just wanted to, again, just manage that expectation of everyone. And with that said, there are commissioners who have a term that will expire this December 2023, and this would mean that you have served your capacity of 2 terms. And so you will be receiving an official letter from our office to provide you with that advance notification. Okay. Also, recruitment. We are anticipating, or let me say this, it is definitely our goal to have all commission seats, all 15, fulfilled by January 2024. Again, we're working strategically on our marketing strategy, but as part of that, we are going to utilize the updated roles and responsibilities information to help us in our recruitment, to make certain that not only is the request being made to serve, but that expectations are being managed. Some of the feedback, again, that's as we just kind of went over, has been the lack of just direction. We kind of all just gather and we report out, and so we want to make certain that people feel that their time is being valued. We definitely value your time, and so we want to make sure that you feel and know that your time is indeed valued. Your time, your talents, and your tokens are definitely appreciated by this executive office and by this administration. And so we just want to make certain that, again, that everyone has clarity and expectations on how we're going to move forward. So if you have any feedback, just as we go over the next few weeks, as it relates to potential recruitment strategies that you want to share that maybe you weren't able to share during our strategic planning session, please reach out to us. We're all open, and we appreciate the collaboration as we work to enhance and fulfill all of the seats related to the commission. Speaking of seats, also as a part of Bill 32-23, Section 3-3-1102, the commission now will have the ability to appoint up to 3 youth commissioners. The youth age range, is defined as ages 16 through 18. So if you know of any young recruits who would be wonderful advocates, wonderful assets to the commission, we do encourage you to do 2 things. One, send their names and information our way, and to also encourage them to apply to the commission as again, that will greatly assist us in our recruitment efforts. And we all know that the best form of advertisement is, of course, word of mouth. So again, we thank you in advance for those who will be able to assist us in that capacity. And I do believe that that ends my report out, and I will again pause for any additional feedback or questions.
I'm sorry, but I must leave the meeting now. Will I be able to access the complete recording later?
Yes.
Okay,
So
good.
you will, yes, it will be provided on the website, and what we'll do is send out a notification to the commission once it's posted.
Thank you so much. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Veitra, this is Commissioner Greer. I'm sorry, I'm driving. I have a question and a comment for the back-to-back terms for the commissioners. Is there any consideration being given to the time that? Can you all
Oops.
hear me?
Yes, sorry. Please
Okay.
start again. Was there any commission? I'm
Yeah,
sorry, any consideration?
is there any consideration being given to the time that was lost during the pandemic? In other words, a lot of commissioners came on board during the pandemic, but of course we were working with very limited, time, resources, and so forth. So are they given, or is anyone, I guess, advocating for any time for the new changes to go into effect given that time? Because many of us came on board during that time. So I don't know who came in. I think I came in later on, but for those that may have come in 2019, they would be right at that fourth year, but having not have really had the opportunity to do a lot of work for the commission.
So that is something that we could consider. I've taken that down and we will circle back. I will say that there are few who served in that window or who joined in that window. But thank you for bringing that forward for consideration.
I think I'm definitely one of, for sure I'm one of
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
And, Executive Director, was that, I believe that's the end of your report?
Yes, I didn't know if there were any other questions or comments, feedback.
I think you left everyone speechless.
Okay. Hopefully for good reason and not.
Most definitely. You're very thorough, and you give a good report, and you provide not only the information, but you're able to answer the questions, anticipate the questions that will be asked. That's what happens. So I would more so take it as a compliment rather than the fact that no one has any questions for it.
All right, Chairman, will do.
I second that.
All right, well, that being the case, thank you all for your participation this evening. Again, we will be convening actually in person on October 11th. The notifications will be going out. That way, there will be no issue as far as a link or anything else. You'll actually get to see each other in person. And in the interim, if there are questions or concerns that regarding anything that was discussed this evening, please feel free to reach out to me, reach out to Executive Director, or even reach out actually to us, or she can reach out to Ramona Brown Carter as well to see get those questions answered. At this point, I would actually ask that the go ahead and stop the recording, and we'll conclude our meeting. And if there are any other discussion points for personal matters, we certainly continue those afterwards.
We thank you for attending tonight's meeting. For any other further questions, please contact us at 410-887-5917, or you can submit your inquiries online. Thank you.
Thank you very much, all of you.
The recording stopped.